Let's take a look at creating custom title marks in AutoCAD architecture. On the screen, I have one of ours that we've created among a group of callouts and title marks for AutoCAD architecture. These are found in our General Tools product. So if I go up here, I'll show you in the content catalog. If you buy any of these products, you get the General Tools for free. Inside the General Tools is an annotation, what do they call it, a category, so the annotation category. Under GT annotation, you'll see the ones that I have on this tool palette here. And among them, if I go farther along, is the custom title marks right here. Now we've advanced them, so the original set were based on when AutoCAD architecture first came out, when it was called ADT, Architectural Desktop. And there's been no evolution in them, so what we've done is incorporated dynamic block properties so that they function like this. You can pull this line back and forth, which you can't do in the original set. And then we added a drop-down list, which has now recently broken. I think it broke in 2018 or something, but I'll show you how to fix that. But you know, little things that we try to do to make them better. That's why I want to do this particular video, is I want to show you how to build your own. Most firms have a totally unique style to a lot of the things they do, their fonts and all that stuff. So I hear them moaning and groaning when they have to use a mark that was just out of the catalog of somebody else's place. So here's how you build your own. And once you learn how to do this, you'll probably be able to figure out how to do all the other ones, the call outs and everything, because the concepts are all very similar. I have a blank drawing on my file. I haven't even saved it yet. It's called Drawing 10. I did do one thing. I brought the fonts from this file. It takes too long to do the text styles, so I just brought those over from the one that we have here. I brought those into this file. That's all I've done. And I'll type in ST so you can see them. So when we built ours, we set up a main, a scale, and sub for the sub header or sub footer, or what is it called, a subtitle, and a header, so that you can change at least the fonts. You can change those. You don't have to go to our defaults. But that's it. They're not annotative. Notice that. They definitely do not, when you make these title marks and callouts, don't use an annotative text style. And I'll repeat that again. That on other things, you can easily make a mistake there by setting it to annotative. It will be, the final product will be annotatively scaled, but it doesn't occur here. Okay, so I'm going to get started. Very first thing you'll want to do is go down to the scale of the drawing and set it 1 to 1. Okay, really important that you do that. Then I'm going to zoom in a little. Now these title marks are based on attributes. So we're going to start an attribute, ATTDEF, for attribute define. We're going to go ahead and give it a name. So view, let's see, I like to use all caps in this for some reason. Old habits. Oh boy, I'm going too fast here. View underscore. You can't have spaces in the tag, so we'll have to put an underscore in there. And then here I just do a view title. And I'm going to skip default, come back to that in a minute. We'll lock the position. We'll leave it at 0, 0, 0. We do not want annotative. Here's no annotative number 2. Do not have that annotative. We want probably, we're finding on ours that 3/8 looks pretty good for the height of the main title. So think south elevation or floor plan. How high do you want that text? In real time, not in some scaled version, but as it is on the sheet when it's printed. So 3/8 we've done. You can make it bigger or smaller, up to you. For the text style, well, one of those 3 that I showed you, so it'll be the main here. I'm going to do my main. And then for justification, I think it works best to do a lower left, so a bottom left. Now you might want it reverse, so you could maybe do a bottom right and you want it on the other side, up to you. So this is all looking good here. Rotation, fine, all this looks good. Make sure your screen matches mine, sort of. You can have a different name here, obviously, and a different height, but look at this, for example, where it says lock. Now, here's where we get into the tricky part of making this thing something unique for AutoCAD architecture. That is, we're going to go into the default field. We're going to right-click. We're going to do an insert field. Okay, now we're going to go to the field category, and we're going to go down to the sheet set. So this is all the stuff that's related to the sheet sets in the use of AutoCAD architecture. We want to go down here to the sheet set placeholder category, and or name, I guess it's a field name. So we have that highlighted, and then over on the right-hand side under the placeholder types, you should see the three things that you might be interested in, maybe four, for doing your title mark. So definitely we have the scale, the number, but we want the view title because that's what we're setting up. So also pay attention to their name, view. That should give you a clue. What does this connect to? It connects to views. I'm going to use uppercase, and then that's it. I'm not going to do the hyperlink thing, which is kind of cool. Play with that on your own. And then we'll go to OK, and we'll hit OK. Then we'll zoom down. We should see it down there, right? So there it is. It's 3/8. If I highlighted, it's 3, what is it? Oh, 3/30 seconds. I thought I said 3/8. Yeah, that's better. Wonder what I did. Let's go back. Well, there we go. Yeah, it was. I must have said 3/30 seconds on that. Okay. Well, I want 3/8. Now I'll do another one. At define. I'll pay attention to what I said for high. Oh, I didn't type it in. That's what it. Okay. So this one here is going to be view scale. All right. View scale. Lock position. Let's not lock it just so you can see what that does. I'm going to leave it at 0. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go top left. And then for height, we've been finding 1/8. Well, that's kind of established by building departments. Years ago, I don't know if they still hold that up, but years ago they set the minimum height for text, that's here in California, it was 1/8 of an inch. I remember getting hit with that because I was used to running 1/12, which is 10 point. But I actually got a red line comment set that the text was too small. Anyway, up to you what you want to use for your height. Do not use the annotative. This looks good. Now we're going to do the field again. So here, insert field. We're going to run down. So this should remember where you were, but once again, if you lost that, it's sheet set placeholder, and it's viewport scale. And then you get to select how you want that read out. So if you don't like the default in theirs and ours of something equals a foot, you can have like a 1/2 something. But this is like, this would normally say something like 1/4 inch equals 1 foot 0 inches. Right, that's the format. So I'm okay with that. All right, now I can leave it. You know what I did is I picked the wrong text. So I can fix that here. I used the title mark main. I actually want to set this to scale because we made one specifically for that. Let's see if I can get things right on the next one. At def. Okay, so this one is just going to be a straight attribute. I'm going to call this one view header. View header. Or what did we call it? Status or something? I think we call it status in our own use, but the header makes sense. I'll lock the position on that. I'm going to do bottom left for this one. Now, here's where I'm going to pick the text style that's correct for this, which was the subtitles and headers. 1/8 of an inch is good. Bottom left is good. Now this one is not going to pluck data out of anything. This is just a standard attribute that you get to fill in. So we'll leave it alone. You could put something in like this if you wanted to, existing. Yeah, let's leave it at that because existing is probably, well, or proposed is actually the most common one, right? Most work is proposed work, but whatever you want in there. I'm going to actually, I've decided right now, leave it blank because it's safest to not have something in there than an error in there. Okay, everything looks good. All right, so it comes in down there. So I'm going to just go ahead with my ortho on. I'm going to move it up that much, whatever that amount is, like that. So that looks good. Grab everything and make sure it's by block, and by block, and then layer 0. That will give you the most amount of freedom to change it in the future when it's being used. Okay, now this is very confusing, but follow along. If you type in units and you go to the scale tab, you're going to see that this archaic setting from way back when it was called AutoCAD Architecture, actually farther back when it was called Softdesk Auto Architect, there was a way to do annotative scaling before annotative scaling was even thought of. And this was the way to do it. It was pretty slick, but it got embedded along this whole evolution and we're stuck with it. So you basically have two forms of annotation scaling. This one should be wiped out somehow. I'm glad I don't get to have to think about how to do that and make everything work backwards compatibility-wise. But we need to compensate for the fact that whatever we're bringing in is going to be reduced by 3 over 32. So if you pull up your calculator and you invert, you do 32 divided by 3, it comes into this, 10.6666. You need to scale this object up 10.666, or whatever you see here, the inversion of that number, in order for all this stuff to work correctly. Okay? So just know that. That's what I'm going to do right now. SC 0, 0, and then I'm going to do 10.667. All right, so now that's all been scaled up by that value. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and make a block of this stuff. So B for block, and I'm going to go ahead and call this thing like title underscore mark. I hit something here. Title mark example 1. I'm going to use 0, 0, 0 because when I built this thing, that was the intent. See, there's the UCS. So that's going to be the lower left insertion point of this block. So I'm going to leave that. I like that. So I'm going to leave it alone. Inches is good. I want this one annotated. This is the first time this is the third option to pick annotative scaling. This is where we want it. We want the whole block and the text with it to scale according to one value. We don't want independent scaling internally. So we'll set it here. I like allow exploding for everything because you never know in a pinch. You may want to just have to blow stuff up to get it done. So now we select objects. Convert to block, yes. Select objects. The order in which you pick these is how you will see them on your tool, your properties over here. So if I want them in the same order as I see on the screen, I'll pick this one first, this one second, this one third. Enter. You'll see them shortly show up, so double check. Okay, and here we go, in the order that they were selected. Okay, so now we have our title mark block, but we're not done yet. It lives in this drawing file, but it has to be pulled out of this drawing file on the tool palette. So we need to save the drawing. So normally you would probably have a standards file with a bunch of these in there that holds all of them. I'm going to go ahead and save this now. And I'm going to save it just to my temp for this demonstration. And I'll just call it standards 1 right here. I had already done an experiment in making this work. So I already have the name in there. And I'll just call it title mark standards 1 and replace that file. Okay, you can name it whatever, save it for the first time. Okay, so checking here. Okay, it has a name. Now I'm going to go ahead and close the file just so there's no potential for errors. Sometimes with data, when you're using the source file and you're testing in another file, it doesn't like to have the source file open. But I think it's usually with data. There's no real data happening here, but just to play it safe, I'm going to go ahead and close the file. Okay, this is just hanging out. I'm going to start a new file. Okay, I'm going to set the new file to 1/4 inch equals a foot. Okay, now I need to make the title mark so it looks like what I have on my screen. So this is what you need to do. You need to find a tool palette or make a new tool palette. You can always just right click here and make a new palette. I'm going to go to one of my testing palettes here where I do R&D work. Go to the bottom. Here's the one that I'm going to delete that one. Okay. Yeah, that was from a previous go at this. This is go at it number 2. All right, so to make this tool, title mark tool, you need to find an example of one. If you just drag and drop that object in, you're just going to get a block. It doesn't know that it's a title mark. So here's how you do that. You go into your content browser. You look for the stock tools that come with AutoCAD architecture. You go to documentation. You go on this list here and you'll find title marks. In here, they're all the same, but they look different because they have different things that they do. Like this one has a circle or like a call out attached. Pick the one that's closest to the one you're making, just so you get the better image. So I'm going to pick this one. This is exactly the kind of setup that I'm trying to demonstrate. So I'm going to add that to my tool palette. Boom. Now there it is. I'm going to right click on it. Properties. Okay. See where it has path statements? Reset those to your what you just made. So I put my file in temp and I called it title mark standards 1. So I'm going to point both of these to that. Okay. All right. Let's go up here to the top and name this title mark custom 1 or standard 1 or whatever we want to call it. That's just the name here down here. Do you want it to key to this layer? Yes or no? You can pick other layers to key to, so when it comes in, it'll insert on that layer. So I'm just going to leave it. That's fine. Actually, you know what? I don't know if it should go there. Shouldn't it be on something like match? What is notes? Forget it. I don't have the patience right now to think of a different place that it should go. I'll leave it there. That's their default. Do you want it to come in justifying to the left? Yeah, that makes sense for this layout. Does it have a tag? No, this one does not have a tag on it. So that's fine, but in case you ever want to put a tag on it, you have the path correct. Attribute text. Do you want it to use the text style set in the target file, or click here? Do you want it to use what it was assigned as? I want it to use what it was assigned as. So that's where I pick the different text styles, the one that was called sub, and one that was called scale, and one that was called main. That you want it to use those. Okay, now what is the title mark name? That's the block that we created. So here's the path. This is the source file, but it doesn't know inside that drawing what block to pull out. So here's where we do we'll do the little down arrow to see the list, and here we go. Title mark example 1. Probably should have called that example 1 up here to match. There we go. So, and then you're stuck with a polyline. Boy, do I hate this little thing. I wish they had thought ahead and just had this something you can uncheck. And I'll elaborate on that if there's time. But it's a polyline, and you get to determine 0 will give you like no width on it, just a straight line. I'm going to leave it alone, just that. Okay. And boom, it's done. It's been programmed. It's set to go. We're in a blank drawing file. I've set it up for 1/4 inch equals a foot. The scale is set to go down here. Add scales to annotated objects, blah, blah, blah. So this is all ready to be tested. So I'm going to go ahead and pick on this now. I'm going to draw this out. So I'm going to draw it out about 12 feet. And I'm going to zoom down on it. Okay. And I've drawn it out 12 feet. So, but at 1/4 inch equals a foot. Now to test if that's correct, change the scale back to 1:1. And you know now, because you said it before, that should be 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to draw a little line out here and kind of line it up. I'm going to turn this off. Line it up here like about there. This should be about 3/8 of an inch high. Yeah, dead on, right? So that's perfect. This thing is working exactly as you would want it. So let's go back to, let's say, 1/8 of an inch scale. Okay, all right. Now notice that I made that mistake when I drew it out, and I'm stuck with that leader line. What a joke! So if I want to fix that with the default setups, I have to draw a new one and make it longer, like that. Okay, ours fixes that problem. But the point is that you've made yours, and it looks like this. And you could test it. You could go down here and make sure that the attributes are working. So you might want to write something like proposed, and then you might want to say south, elevation, and then leave the scale alone, but you could write something 1/4 inch equals 1 foot dash 0 inches. Let's see if all of that works. 1/4 inch equals 1 foot dash 0. There we go. Oh, so yeah, see with that fat line, you would have to go back now. This is why you always test your stuff. Don't see the line, you don't have control over where the relationship, well, you kind of do. You'll have to go back and compensate a little bit. But this is gross. So you'll have to go fix that in the source file. Bring your 1/4 inch value low enough to sit underneath that line. But remember here when we made this thing, we don't have the settings to modify where that line sits. Okay, but nothing I can do about it. I didn't write the software. All right, but we need to go farther than this. This just shows that you've made your title mark and that it is functioning according to scale and that the attributes within it are working. But now you need to put it into real use. So I'm going to dump this file. All right, and now I'll show you real-time use. So we're going to go into a project that's I've got set up here. This is the farmhouse that I've been using for all the other video examples. And we're going to go to Sheets in here. And I have a blank sheet set up that was never used. I think everything was done under the permit drawings here. But I'll use this one because it has nothing in it. So I'm just going to pull up a sheet file like this. Okay, there's no viewports. It's just set up with a title block. And then what I'm going to do is go to the views, and I'm going to find a view. So I've been talking about south elevation. I'm going to go ahead and bring that in. So I have the views that were created in file. I might want to just go into the file for you. I'm going to open that up first. Okay, so here's a giant scratchpad file where I have sections, elevations. Sometimes I get details in here, and then I decide on what sheets I want to put them into later. But so with the 4-way exterior elevation call out, I was able to generate those 4 elevations, right? So they got a title. Here's how they get their title. Just a little bit of a tangent here, but we made a title. But take a look at this. If you go up to the 4-way exterior elevation and right-click on the properties, it's going to be very similar to creating your first title mark, which is all of this data right here, right? But notice, because it's a call out, it has all of this other information. So when you get ready to build one of these, you'll need to program all of that and then come back and program in which titles to use. But now you know how to make a title. So you can do this part, and it'll bring in a title like this. Now this is let's see, that's one of ours. Yeah, it has the grip on it. So I can pull it out like that. And then, so now you'll notice it's filled out, and that occurred as it was. Well, some part of it occurred when it was being created. When these elevations were being created, it starts with north and then goes east and south and west automatically based on the orientation of the drawing. But the scale, it won't know. This will be left blank, and I'm going to show you how it actually gets that information. So just here's how you generate the elevations. Your title marks may occur here. That's by default, they should occur here. But here's another way that you can do them, and it'll test our title mark. So I'm going to go back to the sheet page here, and I'm going to go ahead and bring in the south elevation. I'm going to drag it over. I'm going to right click when it comes in. I'm going to change the scale. I'm going to set it to, let's see, let's go to 1/8 scale and pop it in like right here. Okay. Now, this is a view port, but it is also a view. So these are views over here, and this is a viewport. If I type in V for view, you should see in here, there it is. It's a view, okay? So you're aware of that. Now the title mark that you created, that's down here, this will, because of its nature, because of what it is as an object in AutoCAD architecture, understands views. So I can either go inside the viewport or outside the viewport, it doesn't matter. So sometimes you might want to create your sheets like this where you don't have the title, because you want to line them all up differently than they are in, like, say, this file, or they're just underneath there. You decide, I really want to line them up better. So what you can do is you can actually do your title mark over the viewport in the sheet file. So we'll take the title mark. Okay, now notice here it's going to show red when I get inside of it, so it knows it's associated with it. I can draw it here, I can draw it right up here, it doesn't matter where I draw it. I'll just go like this and make it that long. Okay, now I'm going to move it down now. I'm going to move it down to here. Right? Now, I swear, I think I'm forgetting many things that used to work in the past, or I imagined them to work, but I'm telling you, I recall this automatically filling out when you do that. And I am seeing things verifiably breaking as we're moving along. They're just things that don't work anymore. But I know how to fix this, and I'm going to show you that. So if that didn't fill out for you when you did that, that's fine. Here's what you do. You take the title that you brought in, and you locate the view it's supposed to be associating with automatically. So here it is over in my Views tab. You take the title, and you just pick on it and drag it like I'm showing here. You drag it on over, and you make the association for it, so it gets it, boom, it understands. And now it has the scale. What else do you need to know? You could draw it inside the viewport, so I'm going to draw it inside the viewport here. That's weird. Why didn't it work? Let me try that again. Oh, I think it has to do with the layer it's coming in on. It's probably, yeah, see, it's drawing them, but that's it's a frozen layer. That's one of the things I don't like about dragging these views, and is all the layers are frozen. So you have to go to layer, and you have to figure out what layer it's trying to put this on. Let's see. So I think it's coming in. Let's see. Which layer? It's one of these layers. Right, so it's the AutoCAD, this one here. Right, so I'm going to thaw that. Boom, there we go. And now we should be able to do it. Yeah. So the same thing, but this has been drawn inside the viewport if you ever needed to do it like that, so that it moves with the viewport, so that if you unlock it here, it'll do that. And same thing, I'm going to lock that again. Same thing, you take it, you drag it. Oops. You drag it over and you make the association for it, and then it'll fill out. All right. So that gives you at least 2 different ways of putting those titles on. You can put them on the sheet, like I showed. You can do it inside the viewport or outside the viewport, or you can generate them when you make your four-way elevations like here. And then those get filled out when they are placed on the sheets. Let's see, what else is there? One thing I did want to talk about is the little bug with ours really annoys me. It actually inspired this whole video, and that is if I go back here, like I say, things used to work that don't work, or my brain is starting to slide. But see, with our title mark, I'm going to bring it in here, and then I get that. Well, that's cute. Yeah, so AutoCAD crashed on me for that last example that I wanted to talk about. So I've got it fired up again, and we'll continue on. What I wanted to show was that with our title mark right here, I bring that in and draw it across the screen like this. And I go ahead and associate it like I showed with the custom one that you made. It does this with the pound signs. Here's that line you need to get rid of. That's the polyline that we can't undo. We can't take it out of the settings. But if you get rid of it, then You'll see that this is now a dynamic block where you can drag the line here and the scale value follows, so you can bring it all the way back like that and make a nice tight little one. You can add let's see down here, you can add a footer. So you can say something like, what do I often do as a footer? Study version A, something like that. And then this is the part that blew up. And I'm pretty sure this was working in 17, but it has taken the whatever, taken the south path here. And this is where we programmed it as a dynamic block to read a list. And if I go down to the properties over here, you'll see up here we have a view status with a drop-down list, so that makes it easier and faster for you to say something like existing, proposed, or this is say partial. And it's supposed to just fill in the value field here, so you'll see where the pound is, and it won't do it. It just, so if you are working with our product and this comes up and you are annoyed by it, two ways to deal with this. Until we figure, unless Autodesk releases a fix for this, there's nothing we can do. We've tried all kinds of resetting of things, and this is what it does. It's something about coming out of the tool palette. If it's just inserted as a block, it works fine. So you could just go down here and just type in partial, which is what I've been doing. But if you're intent on fixing that, I'll undo. Here's what you do. You go double click on it, you blow it out, boom. You right click, you go to insert field, and then you go down to, let's see, you do to objects, object again, then you select the object and you pick the line, nothing else. You don't want the attribute values, you just want the line which represents the whole of the thing. And on the whole of that block, we have something called a view status. It was a custom field that we created, which holds the list. And once you reset that and hit OK, and apply and OK, it now functions. That's how it was originally made. It just loses that functionality when you bring it through the tool palette. So here you'll see partial, partial. If I change this now over to demolished, REA, okay, and then I unselect and select it again, you should see it fills it in properly here on the list. Demolished, demolished. So yeah, weird, huh? But that was the last bit that I wanted to demonstrate, and so now I'm out.